Daytona International Speedway, we love our country, and it's truly an honor to be with all of you at the great American race. Gentlemen, start your engines.
President in Daytona, but Chicago proved to be everyone's kind of town this weekend, hosting a bevy of celebrities. And tonight, for the first time ever on the United Center floor, the world's greatest players put on a show for Kobe. Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Final Word. I'm Lou Cadellis from The Score, Anthony Herron and WGN Radio, Pete McMurray, who's finally back.
It's great to be here.
Good to see you. Hey, maybe the greatest NBA All-Star weekend ever. I mean, it's been terrific from start to finish. What do you guys think?
I've been really impressed. I've even been out and about around town a little bit. Went to check out a couple of events, went by the hotel a little bit, kind of wheeling and dealing, whining and dining with some folks. It was hard to stay indoors because so much was going on around the city.
I was at the slam dunk contest last night with my 14-year-old. They did it right at the United Center, and having the skyline on the floor, fantastic.
Charlie, have a good time?
Oh, my gosh, he had a blast. And how about that contest last night?
I know.
Yeah.
Both contests, the slam dunk and the three-point shootout. All right, we'll talk more about the All-Star game. Once it wraps up at the United Center, we're not allowed to run the highlights, so let's not talk about it until we can run the highlights when it all finishes up. So let's talk some baseball. Most of the White Sox and Cubs position players have been at spring training early. Tomorrow's their official report day. So pitchers like the Cubs' Jose Quintana, they were in camp last week, and Sierra Santos sat down with the Cubs starting pitcher earlier last week.
We still going strong. And all of these good things, good things, good things.
Swing and a miss. 13 strikeouts for Quintana.
They know I won't be back, and they know I like this team, and I'm really, you know, proud to be here. So, and this year coming with new expectations. So. Everything is in the past for me right now, and I'm excited for this 2020. I'm be throwing a cutter a little bit and work on my curveball. So my curveball changed a little bit my grip right now. But yeah, more focus. My focus will be changeup. I think this coming a big things for me this year. You know, working my sequence and throw my changeup often.
You kind of know where you're going to be at. But as far as the fifth spot goes, do you think it's going to be Tyler Chatwood, or do you think there is somebody here in camp that fifth rotation spot is going to go to?
I think it's Tyler Chatwood, the fifth star for us. He deserves it. He been working really hard for get that spot, and our rotation is really good. So we have a lot of experience, and we've been in the league many times. So our rotation's really an honor for me to be part. You know, when you see John Lester, Kai Hendricks, Darvish, Tyler Chatwood, that's really good to be here. Excited for this new year. You know, excited to be here in Arizona. Good weather, so excited for a new season.
Good weather. It's 50 degrees outside.
Yeah, but it's better than Chicago. You know.
Yeah, he's right, at least this week. As for the White Sox, Louis Robert was given a $50 million contract before playing a Major League game, but in Robert's mind, he wasn't given anything. He'll earn the big bucks this first season. He considers himself a warrior, and after destroying minor league pitching last season, he's ready to do the same on the Major League level this year.
Good to be here, to be with the coaches, with my teammates, and I think we're going to have a good time this year. And you know, my goals is just to get ready for the season, do my best, and you know, if the team give me the chance to start the season in the major leagues, just perform.
Ultimately, there will be a learning curve, but he's got a lot of guys around him that have gone through that process, and will be able to, you know, kind of help him manage possibly emotions. The biggest thing I think you handle in anything that we do is emotion.
All right, the spotlight will be shining on Louis Robert this year. What do you guys think White Sox fans should expect realistically out of this kid?
Well, I'm the only one in the sports media who correctly predicted 72 wins last season, so I don't consider myself the expert on what we should expect for this coming season. Yeah, I think that overall, with the talent they have in the lineup, the offense was fine last year. It should be even better this season with the way they've boned things up overall. So the health of the pitching staff should be a chief concern for White Sox fans right now. So as long as you're getting your arms back, as long as the lineup performs well, and there's going to be kind of pieces for Ricky Renteria to move around a little bit because they're so deep with how they can attack opponents. And so I wouldn't go into it expecting that you're always going to see Yohan Moncada batting in the same spot, or that if Luis Robert does come out and is struggling a bit early in the season, that maybe you bump him down the order. If he's hot, bump him up the order. There's a lot of guys with versatility with where and how they can hit up and down. That should be a big strength.
But realistically, what do you think Robert will do? What kind of numbers he's still going to
be a rookie.
Are you expecting him to be an AL Rookie of the Year?
He should certainly be in that discussion, I would think, with as talented as he is. If he's not, I don't think White Sox fans should be overly concerned about it. They locked him up for a long time with that $50 million bag with good reason, because he's a guy they can count on long term. So overall, I think this rookie season, you should hope for big things, but don't be disappointed if it's not astronomical.
I think high expectations. He batted .328 in the minors, 92 RBI, 32 home runs, 36 RBI. A lot of expectations for him. He can communicate with Ricky Renteria. He doesn't need a translator, so that's going to help a little bit. But high expectations for the White Sox. If Ricky doesn't get 85 wins this year, I think he's gone.
I'm not going to disagree with you there. And you know what? Robert will be flanked in his locker by Yohan Moncada and Jose Abreu, his Cuban friends. All right, Rob Manfred, Major League Baseball commissioner, sat down for a lengthy interview with ESPN this morning regarding the Astros cheating scandal. And Manfred was asked why they decided not to vacate the Astros World Series title.
The idea of, you know, an asterisk or asking for a piece of metal back seems, you know, sort of a futile act. People always know that there was something about the 2017 World Series that was different, and they're going to know that because whether we made every decision right or wrong, we undertook a really thorough investigation, and we had the intestinal fortitude to put out there the facts we found, even though they weren't very pretty.
And then Yu Darvish finally spoke out on the Astros cheating scandal today at camp.
Angry, but just it's weird feeling. It's like Olympics, like when players cheat, you can't have a gold medal, right? But they still have a World Series title. That's making me feel like weird.
Hey man, this guy still has scars from that 2017 World Series.
Brutal.
And he's right. Has Major League Baseball handled this whole thing correctly?
I think it's a lose-lose at this point. Once it comes out that the Astros cheated and all the evidence is out there, regardless of what Rob Manfred does or what baseball does, it's a huge black eye for the entire league. And so at this point, if you do, like Rob Manfred was talking about, take a hunk of metal back, it to me seems trivial at this point if you do that. So I wouldn't have had a problem if they did, but overall, everyone's going to remember the 2017 World Series for the Astros scandal, not for whomever would have won, whether any other team would have been. Like, I don't know who the Black Sox lost to when they lost the World Series. I just remember that they cheated.
And how many times have you heard a university have to vacate its national championship because of a recruiting violation 3 years ago?
Vacate those middle 3 wins of the season or take that Heisman back. I mean, none of it ends up mattering in the end because we remember the scandal.
See, I completely disagree. I think you need to set a precedent. I mean, sign stealing in baseball has been around forever, be it a first base coach, a player on second, or a third base coach. But when you add a camera and an algorithm and you throw it into a computer and you hit a garbage can and you buzz a guy on the shoulder, you're cheating. The Astros cheated. They were outed. They need to vacate the title.
But in my opinion, though, it's more about stopping them from doing it again. I think you go back to 2017 and say, hey, everybody, forget, here's your deneuralizer or whatever. The World Series didn't happen. Everybody remembers what happened anyway, so I don't think it necessarily changes. Obviously, it doesn't really change the result. It just says, like Rob Manfred said, you take a hunk of metal back, but the game still took place.
And you're saying that if you do take the hunk of metal back, you think that other teams in the future will not cheat?
I absolutely think so. I
completely disagree. I think if teams can get away with it, they will. I want to move on. Chris Bryant arrived in Mesa yesterday, addressed the trade rumors that have been connected to his name all offseason.
I mean, the biggest thing with this the trade rumors that has disappointed me is the fact that I feel like people, not everybody, but the main reasoning behind it is that let's get rid of him now because he doesn't want to be here in 2 years. He turned down this monster extension well north of $200 million, and I'm like, well, where was that? I never saw that. I mean, it's just these rumors and sources and people just saying things, and it's like the only thing that matters is what comes from my mouth. And never once have I said I never wanted to play here.
I'll tell you what, I love Chris Bryant. I love him even more when he's unplugged. What do you expect out of Bryant this year?
I expect that he's going to show up and be the Chris Bryant he is, but we have to remember that baseball is a business, and a business needs to make money. So it's about the bottom line and the luxury tax. I think he's gone by the trade.
What is Chris Bryant? Is he an MVP?
Candidate, sure, but he's not one of the top players. He's not one of the top 5, not one of the top 10 players in baseball. So is he worth $35 million plus a year? Probably not, but I hope he stays.
Is he healthy? Is he coming back healthy? That's a big question mark, too.
We are just getting started here on The Final Word. Up next, we'll head out live to the United Center, where the All-Star Game is just wrapping up. Mitch Robinson gets grades on the host city. Plus, the second time of the week, Blackhawks are in an important division battle up in Winnipeg. Try saying that 3 times.
It's easy for you to say,
Highlights
buddy.
after all these All-Star parties this weekend. Highlights later on in the show. Hey, if you're a fan of The Final Word or our Bear shows, follow us on Twitter. Check us out at Fox Kickoff. You can follow me. I'm at Lou Canellis. Anthony is at Big Ant Heron. And Pete is at Pete McMurray. NBA All-Star Game just wrapping up at the United Center. We can't show you any highlights until it's over, but we do have our intrepid reporter, Mitch Robinson, live at the UC. And Mitchell, you talked to some of the big names who gave Chicago a passing grade this weekend, huh?
Oh, it's been great, Lou. You know, ever since this began on Friday, there's been a special feeling here at the United Center, but also across the city of Chicago as the world has descended to see this All-Star weekend. And when talking to current players and Hall of Famers alike, they all say the same thing. When it comes to this weekend, Chicago did it up right.
Chicago is always good as far as how they approach All-Star Weekend. It's a great town, and so you know the event is going to be a great event, so nothing surprising.
I went to Toronto. It was really cold, and I thought we was going to have problems there. We didn't, but this has gone off without a hitch, you know, especially with all the circumstances surrounding it. I think that Chicago, the city has been well. So a lot of things have been going good, so I'm happy that I came.
I thought that the dunk contest last night was amazing, right? The show has just gotten better and better and better. Now, the only thing is the guys have to go out and compete tonight, right? Because that's the thing that's been lacking over the last 10 years or so. Guys weren't competing. If they compete tonight, we're all-time winners.
The guys are competing. I mean, this one's coming down to the wire, even with their new format. So they're still playing and finishing up as we speak. Now, the only thing that's been missing for someone like myself or any other Bulls fan, we've seen Horace Grant, we've seen Scottie Pippen, but we've not seen MJ anywhere at the United Center all weekend. That would have been something that would have been a special treat for the fans here in Chicago. Reporting from the United Center at the All-Star Game, Mitch Robinson, Fox 32 Sports. Lou, back to you.
All right, we'll get it back to you, Mitchell, as soon as the game ends, and hopefully you'll get to talk to some of the players as well before we go off the air here on The Final Word. What were your guys' thoughts on the game while you were able to watch it? I'll tell you what, I saw some fire in the belly there that I haven't seen in an NBA All-Star game maybe ever, especially there at the end of that third quarter where they were struggling back and forth, fighting back and forth. It was a one-point game. I enjoyed it, and I saw that the fans enjoyed it as well, giving standing ovations for some of the defense that was played that you never see played in a game like this.
And the results of each quarter being $100,000 donations to children's charities around here in Chicago. And so after the quarter is over, you see whichever group of kids for Team LeBron or Team Giannis.
That was awesome.
Yeah, they're celebrating whoever got the money at that point. So I thought that was a really cool moment. Halftime show with Chance the Rapper was outstanding as well. So there were some really nice moments from what I saw.
You like the new format?
I do. I think it adds a little extra intrigue to it. I mean, every couple of years, they're starting to change something with the game, with the dunk contest, with the three-point shootout. I like it. The NBA tries to keep things fresh.
I loved every aspect of it except that. I didn't really understand it. They kept adding up the points. It's like, can you just give us the regular score?
But
why is that a big deal?
Zero.
Whoever is leading after a quarter, you can donate the money. I just don't understand it. Give me the regular score. But I loved it.
Tributes for Kobe Bryant before the game. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, certainly fitting, worthwhile to continue doing that. No surprise that it was happening. And Kobe Bryant, he ended up sort of taking a bit in a way of the luster away from David Stern, the former commissioner who recently passed as well. So, we heard Adam Silver say that they will continue to find additional ways to honor David Stern because he was certainly a monumental figure in NBA history, too.
PD, I want to go to the slam dunk last night because you were out there. The Heat's Derrick Jones Jr. won a questionable decision over Aaron Gordon in the dunk contest that went to, 2 tiebreaker jams.
Right.
That was a phenomenal dunk by Gordon there on his 4th attempt when he ran baseline. Then Jones under his left leg for the left-handed slam. Aaron Gordon then using Chance the Rapper. This guy had 4 straight perfect 50 scores.
Great.
And he lost. How does that happen?
Anytime you can jump over a 7-foot taco, you should win the slam dunk contest. But it was so good last night. They did it right. They really did.
Did he get robbed? Seriously,
he did.
Absolutely, he got robbed again.
Yes.
He got robbed in 2016.
4 50s in regulation and then another 50 during the first extra period of the dunk contest. I mean, it's hard to say that either guy should have lost, but when it came down to it, Aaron Gordon was as spectacular as anyone could hope for.
All right, now let's take a look at what Zach LaVine did. He did not have the greatest showing in the three-point shooting contest that was won by Buddy Hield, did he?
No, he did. I mean, 23 isn't a bad score. It was just this guy's got hot.
Started strong.
Well,
started strong. 4 out of 5, and then he faded.
Yeah.
Yep.
He opened up. He looked terrific. I thought maybe LaVine might capture it, and then he just went cold, and then finally caught on there at the end, but it was too little too late. All right, lots more to get to on this edition of The Final Word. President Trump, he took a spin around Daytona today, and then the rains came. A long day of waiting for racing. We'll continue into tomorrow. We'll have the details, plus the Blackhawks are in Winnipeg fighting for every point possible as their 5-game road trip comes to an end. Highlights are next. Exciting start to the NASCAR season. Everything looking great for the side of the Daytona 500. President Trump on hand to give the command to start the engines. Trump got into his limo and led the field on the parade lap. First sitting president to ever do that. However, Mother Nature had other plans. First of several periods of rain hit 20 laps in. They were forced to postpone the race. They'll resume tomorrow at 3 o'clock right here on Fox 32. Well, the one way the Blackhawks can make up what's been a disastrous 5-game trip through Western Canada, wrap up the roadie with back-to-back wins. And the Hawks hoping the goal scoring is infectious, coming off of last night's 8-goal effort at Calgary. But they didn't get in from Calgary till 3 a.m. You'd understand if they were sluggish. Didn't happen that way. Hawks with the better part of the play in the first. Patrick Kane shoots and goes off of Ryan Carpenter for the 1-0 lead. Stayed that way till midway through the second. Nathan Boileau's shot is deflected in by Mason Appleton, tying the game at 1. And then later in the second, Jets get the go-ahead goal. Shot from the point, deflected off of Jack Raslovic. Made it 2-1 Jets. Final minute of the second. Great passing. Jonathan Taves finds Patrick Kane for the goal. That's his 27th. We're tied at 2. But early in the third, Nathan Boileau, his shot deflects off of Alex DeBrinket's stick past Corey Crawford. Made it 3-2 Jets. Winnipeg wins 3-2. Hawks go 1-4 on the Canadian road trip. They have lost 7 of their last 9. That's a bad loss. College hoops. UIC at Northern Kentucky. This one all flames. Tarkus Ferguson, the nice drive. UIC led 43-18 at the break. They did not let up. Ferguson lobbed to Michael Diggins. USC now above 500 in Horizon League play. They crushed the Norse 73-43. Let's get back to the Blackhawks. That's a bad road trip, folks. I thought they'd go 3-2. 1-4 is awful. They are 6 points out of the playoffs with 23 games to play. Trade deadline coming up. Are they buyers, sellers, or standing pat?
I think for the moment they're going to stand pat. We've seen it for a few seasons now where they've continued to fall further and further away from their Stanley Cup form. I don't necessarily think the organization really wants to admit that they need to go into a full rebuild. If you start to sell things off, then who's really worth as much as you're willing to give up? You got some of the all-time greats in hockey, so what are you going to do? You're going to get rid of Patrick Kane? You're going to get rid of Jonathan Taves? I don't really see that happening. So overall, you got some young talent who you would like to actually build with. who's shown some promise. So they're in kind of that sticky purgatory right now, Pete.
But if you're Stan Bowman, don't you feel like you need to make a move to save your job? I mean, they were here last year. They were 5 points back in the playoffs, and what did they do? Nothing. So here we are, 6 points again this year. You got 2 goalies, and you might as well make a move.
Which of the 2 would you move?
Wow. I like Leonard. I think you would save him for the long term and get rid of Crawford, get something for him.
You know, you talked about Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. If you went into full rebuild, would you trade a Toews or Kane?
They're still young enough where you could get a haul for either guy, especially Patrick Kane right now. But you may alienate the fan base. They've meant so much to this city for so long, especially through a stretch where there was nothing else to root for in the city of Chicago from a sports standpoint, and they're going out there hoisting Stanley Cups. So that's a tough one. I think both of them are likely to stay. There are other pieces that can move. It just makes it difficult to rebuild if you start moving the young guys.
You got to keep 88. 19 possibly, and Corey Crawford, but 88 stays. You got to keep Patrick Kane.
Yes, I agree with you. We are back with more right after this here on The Final Word. All right, time to find out if I'm nuts or not nuts. I've got a few thoughts for my partners up here.
You're nuts.
They'll tell me if I'm nuts or not.
You're nuts.
All right? We're going to start the second half of the NBA season later this week. Bucks are the new favorites to win the NBA title at 5-2 odds. I am putting my money, my hard-earned money, on Milwaukee.
Nuts. Nuts. I mean, one of the LA squads is probably going to get it. Milwaukee has all the metrics in their favor. They've got Giannis, who's on his way to being maybe the best player in the game in the years to come. I'll believe it when I see it, though. I think it's going to be the Clippers or the Lakers.
Come on, Anthony. I think you're not nuts. Really? I love Milwaukee. I love Giannis. I don't think anybody can guard him in the paint. I think this could be their year.
Pete, I love you. I saw the outpouring of love for Derrick Rose firsthand on Thursday at his book signing. Rose's shooting percentage this season is better than it was during his MVP season. I think the Bulls should sign Derrick Rose this coming offseason and bring him back home.
Not nuts. Not nuts. Count me in for that one, man. For where this squad is at right now, I mean, a couple of years ago when it started to seem like maybe D. Rose was going to return to form, it felt a little premature. It felt like, all right, maybe the franchise just needed to move on. At this point, yeah, you got Kobe White. He's exciting. He's fresh. He's young. But at this point, what else is there? There's Levine. There's White. We don't know if anyone else can actually play on that squad right now. At least D. Rose can play. We know that. He's not back all the way to MVP form, but he's near an all-star level. I'd bring him back.
Read my lips when I say this now. No, no, no. Absolutely not no. You want to rebuild the Bulls with a 12-year veteran with 2 bad knees. Absolutely not no.
How many times are we going to watch him rebuild the Bulls?
No.
NFL Scouting Combine starts a week from tomorrow in Indy. I've always got football on the brain, and I do not want Andy Dalton in a Bears uniform.
Amen to that. I mean, and you know what? Let me be more specific about it. I wouldn't mind if Andy Dalton was in a Bears uniform if it was going to be at the right price.
At your price.
Yes, precisely.
Not $17 million a season.
He's still going to come with a big price tag if he's going to come here, and if you're going to pay a guy in the range of $17 million, because that's what his cap number would end up being, then he's probably going to be your starter, which he's not better than Mitch Trubisky. So why do you need to bring that guy in to be your starter? I don't want any parts of Andy Dalton as a starter. Backup, security, sure.
Absolutely not nuts. Work on the offensive line first, and the Tom Brady Bears talk stops right now. No Brady, no, nothing.
Back after this. No. Final round of the Genesis Invitational. Only bright spot in Tiger Woods' round was this bunker shot on 17.
Oh.
Yeah, went in for birdie. Tiger finished last, though, at 11 over. Rory McIlroy started the day tied for the lead, but a 3-putt double bogey on the 5th hole derailed his round. Rory finished tied for 5th, and it was Adam Scott's day. He was the only player in the top 20 to birdie the 13th hole, and it made all the difference because Scott won by 2 shots. That's his 14th PGA Tour victory. Well, that NBA All-Star game still has not ended, but there were some moving pregame tributes to Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, surrounded by this year's All-Stars, and an 8-second moment of silence. Jennifer Hudson's powerful tribute with pictures of Kobe and his daughter Gianna behind her. Finally, Commons wrap with nods to Kobe, Michael Jordan, D. Wade in Chicago. Special start to tip off a special night here in Chicago. Game just ended. As for the game itself, high-scoring first quarter. James Harden tosses the alley-oop for LeBron. Team LeBron won the first with 53 points. Time winding down in the second. Trae Young. From half court. Team Yanni swung the second quarter, though. They tied the third quarter, so the first team to make it to 157 would win the game. And Anthony Davis won it on a free throw, I'm told. Team LeBron wins 157-155. Wow. Hey, by the way, I want to take a second to send out well wishes to our buddy Danny Parkins and his wife Stephanie. They were able to bring home their infant son Owen from the hospital this week. Nice. He had to spend a month in the neonatal intensive care unit, but now he's home where he belongs. Congrats to the whole family, and hopefully Danny will be around next Sunday here on The Final Word. That is going to wrap up the show. We are out of here. Our next news tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. Inside the Bears is next. Keep it here on Fox.